Right, so I pulled the floor out of this boat just to have a quick look, as I do with every boat we get, just to make sure there's no big corrosion holes or anything like that. Quite often you find sinkers, swivels, all sorts on the floor. There's something there, what's that? It's a washer by the look at it. Stainless steel washer, so that's actually okay, that's not causing any problems at all. Stainless steel and aluminium together aren't too bad. So when you get dissimilar metals way off the end of the scale of things, they'll start reacting and corroding. So this is actually really tidy. I was quite surprised. Pulled the floor out as well. I haven't pulled it right out yet, but there's a bit of rubbish under there, not too bad. I'll just jump in and have a quick look. So I always pull the floor out because there's always sinkers normally. Whoop, as I fall out. So, oops. Bash crash. Stick that on there. The other thing we found was they had some homemade lid on this storage compartment. They had brass screws in here, metal screws, like mild steel screws screwing it in. So you got mild steel into aluminium, that rusts straight away and corrodes aluminium. Brass on aluminium is not good either, but it did have a barrier here with this thing here. So what have we got? It's not too bad. These are good clean, obviously. So we've got a few bits and pieces here. Some bracket off something. Brass screw. Oh no, that's stainless, so that's okay. Oh, there's a few screws here. What have we got? So stainless, that's okay. Snapped off steel screw, that's not good. Another stainless screw, that's good. Oh, that's a swivel. That's bad. So that's brass on aluminium, that always corrodes. Oh, awesome. Piece of steel, it's the end of a pot rivet. There's another one. Oh, brilliant, that's actually jammed in there. Yeah, right, so that's not good. Having metal in aluminium, I'll check there's no hole in that, like a pinhole. It's probably not too bad. I think this boat's been in fresh water, so it's probably okay. When you start putting them in salt water, it conducts a lot better and corrodes worse. So, alright, so far so good. We'll give this a good clean out. I'm going to put in a new deck and a few bits and pieces in this. So other than that, it's in pretty good, tidy condition. So these are the screws we pulled out of this boat, just pulling the seats out and various attachments they've had. A good tip for, you want stainless steel, like good quality stainless steel fastenings for aluminium so they don't corrode. So a good tip, this is just a parts tray, it's got a couple of magnets in it. So you throw them in, and obviously stuff that sticks, that's metal, that's pretty obvious, that's metal. That washer's hanging on as well, so that's rubbish. That screw there, so you look at this screw and go, it looks stainless, but it's not. And you can generally tell. So that one there is hanging on pretty well. That one's actually hooked up. That screw there is, it's got a lot of metal in it. That's got metal in it. The screws holding the seat in though tend to be okay. So this is one of the floorboards I pulled out. It's actually not too bad. It's actually quite solid still. They tend to start weeping around the ends, start swelling up and delaminating. You can see this one here's starting to, but that's literally one little skinny layer, which is nothing to worry about at all. So they're actually still quite firm. So that's a good sign. It means it hasn't had a huge amount of water in it over the years. So we'll be able to save these, no worries. Right, here we have some sort of hose. I think he's had a bilge pump in this. I'm sure he has. Obviously that's the end where the pump was connected. It must have just sat on the floor there. And it's basically almost like a laundry overflow hose on the outlet, which is probably not a bad idea. It means you don't have to drill a hole in your boat with an outlet fitting. So yeah, I might even end up using that again. What I will do is just quickly take it off. So, again, I don't know why people use mild steel brackets and things on aluminium boats. They need to be made out of either stainless or aluminium as a spacer to lift the motor up. So that's going to have to come out because it obviously corrodes two different types of metal. So the previous owner absolutely loved their stickers. Well, look at this. The whole boat's covered in them. So we're going to take some of these off. two reasons. I mean, I don't mind stickers, but sometimes when they're like this, this is on the bow of the boat, if you get salt water spraying up, which we will, it just gets underneath the sticker and it'll just hold water in there and that'll corrode and bubble out. So trying to get these off can be an absolute nightmare sometimes. You can try and scrape them off with these razors, but you'll generally find they'll just come off in little pieces and you can spend forever. So I'll start on the other end, I'll show you that. We just use a hairdryer, it's really easy. Yeah, so you just get your favourite hairdryer and heat her up and then they come off really easy, generally. So that's a lot easier than just chipping away at it. So stickers everywhere in this boat. The guy's got them and he's painted the inside to apparently stop the shine when you're fishing in the hot weather. So yeah, I'm not sure about that. But anyway, that's nice quality paint he's used, all powdery. So I might leave hummingbird on it because I'm probably going to put a hummingbird sounder in it anyway. I don't mind them as a sounder. All this stuff can probably come off. If Halco want to sponsor me, I'd probably happily put that back on. Alright, so we just got to do the rest of that to the rest of them. Right, so once the stickers are off, just get a bit of Prepsol on a clean rag and give the boat a bit of a wipe, and that sticky glue and everything should just come straight off. It's basically a wax grease remover. Take off any glue, so another fun job, just go around like that and take all the residue off. So the next job to do is take out this little fish finder holder that the guys put in there. All it is a bit of bent checker plate and a switch, and there's a little light underneath, but we're going to go a different system. So it's just a matter of pulling out all this cabling is done. He's wrapped all the extra transducer cable around the rod holder, and to the back we'll just take the little transducer off as well. Yeah, so I just drilled out these rivets that were in the side here. That released that little bracket someone's made. They've got the extra cabling from the sounder, power cable, wrapped around the grab rail. I don't know why you do that, but if it was pulling enough current you could use it as a hand warmer. But anyway, I've got to take all that off and pull all these wires out because I'm going to put the battery right up under the front, and I'll run new cables through and I'll make up a different mount for the sounder. So we'll pull all this stuff right out, strip it. So just taking off the little transducer here off the back. It's a little skimmer type transducer. So it's mounted just below the bottom of the boat hull. You put them in between the ribs generally, so you get a bit of nice clean water coming off the back of the boat, so you don't get as much interference on your sounder. So yeah, a little skimmer type, so that just skims across the water there. Little dot on the back is normally a temperature probe. So yeah, so this little sounder is probably a little bit too small for what I'm trying to do with this boat. I want to use this one as a bit of an all-rounder, chasing gardies, whiting, and also want to put in the river, finding some bream and some mulloway. So this little sounder would be good in a kayak or something, but I won't go too crazy. I'm not going to put a side image one in this one. I've got one in my other boat. I really just want this for nice down imaging and some raw sonar as well, so we can hopefully see some good fish cruising around. So that's the old one. I've gone to town with the silicon. Must have been on special, but anyway, that's good. At least it can't get into the back of the boat, so I've got to remember to obviously plug this up before I put a new one on, and I'll probably mount the new transducer when I get one in the same spot. You'd have to be pretty lucky. We may even be able to use the same holes, but I wouldn't hold my breath on that. Yeah, so there we go. So that's it removed. That little bracket there just holds the cable up against the boat. Like I said, they've had a fair bit of silicone on the back of this one. Like I said before, that's like a little temperature probe, so that's quite handy. Even these small sounders aren't too bad, far as if you're in the river, for example, you're getting close to an estuary or something, you can actually see the temperature change. Like you'll be going along and you'll just see all of a sudden there'll be warmer water or something there, or a fish had a wee, one or the other, and warmed up the water. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So these are quite a good little sounder for a basic unit. The small units tend to not have as very good detail on the screens as some of the bigger screens and the more newer units as well. So it's a bit harder to read things on there, but they definitely still do the job anyway. So still just using a bit of Prepsol to soften this glue a bit. It's just basically, it's roof and gutter silicone. It's not Sikaflex or anything like that, but it's obviously done the job. It wasn't going to fall off. It's quite difficult to get off, but anyway, we're getting there. Prepsol softens the glue a little bit. So it's nearly off. I've actually seen a mark here. I don't know if the camera's picking that up or not. There's an outline here where I think someone originally traced this and they were going to mount it up there. Thank goodness they didn't. That would have never worked. And there would have been extra holes drilled in there, would have been no good, but anyway, they obviously worked it out and put it in the right spot, so that was good. Alright, so nearly got it, just a few little bits left. It's like the old fingers down the blackboard. You can do that. Oh yeah, that'll freak some people out. Okay, good enough. We'll sort it out when we get a new transducer. In here we've got a glove box that was actually been broken. Oh, there's another sticker hiding there, look at that. Glove box is broken, front smashed off. He had a bit of a dodgy hinge system set up. What I'm going to do is drill this out because I've got a glove box up the front. And what I want to do is mount the fire extinguisher. I bought this box years and years ago. Never got around to using it. It's actually reinforced at the back. You screw your fire extinguisher into it. I'll reinforce the back a bit as well. But what I might do is chop this out and flush mount that inside there. It'll be a great spot for a fire extinguisher out of the off the floor, and it'll give me a bit more room. So anyway, we'll drill this out quickly. Got a broken head of a rivet in the centre of this, which makes them really hard to drill out. There we go. Hot. This is really flimsy sort of aluminium too. So I'm going to put there was originally a little board on top of this seat with carpet on it, and I'll do exactly the same with the front seat as well. Lots of small rivets there. Wasn't going to fall out, was it? there's a steel piece inside the centre of these rivets, which makes it really hard to get started. There must be one there too. There we go. So it's actually a glove box, there's a little latch there where you're supposed to turn a key. Obviously the hinges are snapped off, and it's just, there's no point having it because everything's just going to fall out. You've got to make your own hinge. Not worth it. So once I cut this out bigger, I'll mount this in there nice and flush. Fire extinguisher. Happy days. You can see it's got all the original flotation in there as well. So we won't lose much of that. We've got to cut this out a little bit bigger obviously. But I'll get rid of those stickers while I'm here too. While we're at it, we'll get rid of this bracket here. It was to hold something, but he's used standard galvanised tech screws. So again, metal on aluminium's not good, so that's coming off. We can remount that somewhere if we need it with stainless steel, but for the moment it's coming off. And in case you're wondering, yeah, that is hot. Fingers are burning. Righty-o. So these rod holders are okay still. Only problem is it's the same story, steel screws, so we'll quickly take them out and I'll put them back in probably later with stainless screws. So as you can see, these are zinc coated screws. To be fair, they're not actually that corroded, so you know, it's not, hadn't really done any damage. If it had been salt water, it'd be probably another story. So anyway, we'll just change them over to stainless if we want to put them back there, but we might even mount them somewhere else yet. So I just vacuumed the boat out, and this is why we vacuum them out, especially new boats that I've never had anything to do with. That's what we found under one of the front chines, so yeah, not good. So basically a little clip that snaps onto your fishing rod, and when you get a bite, it rattles, lets you know you got a bite. But that was jammed under the boat, pretty rusty, but that'll react to the aluminium and put a hole in the bottom of your boat. So I think we got to it in time, and this boat's been in storage for a long time, so there was no real water for it to keep going. So okay, so the lights in this trailer had it. I've checked them out. These are LED ones. The cabling going to the front and back's okay, but they just don't work. So half the LEDs do. They've obviously got moisture or something in there at some point, and the driver's had it. So we're going to take them off. I'm going to move these lights up onto guide poles as well, so that way I can basically guide the boat on when we're out in the surf, trying to get the boat on. And even at a slipway, you can use the bars to help guide it on when you're on your own as well. And also when they're this low, sometimes on our beaches down here, when we get big storms, we do get a bit of seaweed washed up, and it can be up to, you know, metre high sometimes. So when you're backing in, you're basically ploughing through it, and these can get ripped off, and especially if you've got your number plate even lower. So we're just going to get rid of them anyway, and I'll put them up higher. So take these off. So I'll leave this cable running through the channel here, because when I put the new lights on, I'll use this cable as a pull-through wire. So we'll just chop these off quickly. This is what I want to make with the new boat. similar type thing, just up on little stands or guide rails. I've got some round galvanised pipes, some really old heavy stuff, so I'm going to use that. So over here I want to save these brackets because I'm going to weld them onto the pipe, so I may as well take them off. Yeah, so this bracket I'll weld this onto the new stands basically. That'll give it a bit of protection at the top as well. So we'll do that with the other side. Pull one of these apart and have a look. I'm not sure how they call these submersible when there's a dirty great hole in the back. Okay, so the inside's supposed to be sealed. How does that come out? So they're basically supposed to be sealed inside where the driver is behind, but anyway, I'll take one out and have a quick look. These are going in the bin, so it doesn't really matter, but interesting to see where they fault. A bit of silicone over all the screw holes, so I don't know if somebody, previous owners, put them on or not. It's a bit hard to tell. Or it could be done at the factory. So I just pulled the back off the second one just for the fun of it, and that was sitting up even by itself. I haven't even tried to pull that stuff off yet, but that's pretty ordinary, and you probably can't pick it up on the GoPro, but all these are basically corroded, rusty. I mean, look at that one, that's just rust, and what it's done, it's seeped through the circuit board, or possibly got around from the other side. Oh, it's probably got around the side of the circuit board actually, been full of water. And in here, all the LEDs are all corroded out, so that's why they had it. So my plan is, if we can keep these out of the water, instead of getting dunked every time you launch a boat, they would have to last a lot longer. The only problem is when you do that, when they're up there, it's really hard to find a place to mount a number plate. So I've actually put this one here on this other boat. I'm not even sure if that's legal, but to be honest, I'm not too worried about it because I prefer to have a working light on number plates. It's pretty obvious, you can see it, but I'm not sure if they're supposed to be horizontal or not, but we'll worry about that if and when we get pulled over. Because this paint someone sprayed on there is pretty ordinary. And it's starting sort of powdery. I might take these rod holders out, and I think I'll probably end up repainting the whole boat just around the edges with some, pretty basic paint, but it's got to be better than what's on there. So I'll take that glove box out the front out as well. So the screw's missing there, so at least we found where that screw in the boat's from. Because I'm going to give this a bit of a quick paint, sort of pretty ordinary what's on there. I'm going to pull this glove box out, and I'll probably put the fire extinguisher here instead and put this where I pulled the other one out. Yeah, because I think it'd be handier having this pretty much near where I'm driving, so I can put a phone or something in it. So we'll just drill out these pop rivets. Oh, that's nice. Whoever's put these rivets in, the centre steel post is still in them, which makes them really hard to get out. So that one's missing, so drills quite easy. Whereas that one, still got it in there. There we go. Okay, save as much of that as we can. So this is pretty much the same glove box as the other one. So, a little luck. So that'll end up living there, and it's close to where I'm driving, and I'll chuck a phone or something in there. So put the fire extinguisher up in the other hole. Just found the feet for this vacuum cleaner, so I thought I'd better put them on. I've had this for ages. This might stop it falling over anyway. So I've got to clean the bottom of this out. What I actually found while I was doing that, in here, there's a piece of filler rod from the original when they were welding the boat together. Bit of filler rod for the TIG welding. So I mean, it's not doing much harm because it's the exact same material as here, but you think, wow, wouldn't you pick that up? Must have been made on a Monday or something. I want to put a board on top of this to make it a bit stronger, because this is really thin material. So I want to put a board same as the back one, and then I'll put carpet on top. So I've got to remove all this. So yeah, turning into a bit of a fun job, because there's a bit of glue under it. Anyway, we'll keep working away at that. It was awesome fun. Doesn't seem to be as bad there. They've used a lot of glue at the end here. Okay, we're going to have to leave it there for that video. Part 3 is coming up, where we make the trailer light poles. If you like these videos, hit the like button, that'd be great. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.